Your programmes through till 5 o'clock are running 15 minutes behind schedule, and very shortly, the life and music of Rick Astley in a Christmas special.
Every day, someone new finds the way to Winalot Prime. And Winalot Prime finds the way to give them 50% more meat than the best-selling tinned dog food in Britain. Prime meat. Instinct leads to it.
Nighttime brings you plenty of music. At 3:15 now, part 2 of the Wembley charity concert, The Party. Here and now, they're talking about Rick Astley.
And we really like the idea of taking somebody who hasn't made a record before, who says, we'll make a record together, we have good fun doing it, and when it goes up the charts, that's the biggest thrill for me. I mean, Melon Kim is an example, Princess is another example. Rick Astley, who has a record out now, I'd just love that to go in. There's a guy from Lancashire, you know what I mean? It's something you've done, you've achieved from nothing.
A little story here, folks. I was actually in Manchester with my manager, and we were just basically walking along the street, and an American girl came up to us. She said, I've been over here. This was just when it hadn't been out very long, and she said, I've been over here for a few months, and do you know what's going to remind me most of England? And I said, what? And she said, your song, Never Gonna Give You Up. So that sort of blew me away, really, and that was really, really nice. Yeah. I used to play drums. That's how I started off when I was about 15. And I did sing a couple of songs in the very first band when I was at school with a couple of my mates. And but basically I just didn't want to be at the front and sort of fronting it all and everything. I was quite happy to be behind the tom-toms and the cymbals hiding away. And basically I carried on drumming for a couple of years, and when I was about 17 I joined a different band. And I started writing songs on a guitar. And but it was a case of the bass player who was doing all the singing. Wasn't particularly all that good. And it was a case of, well, you've written the song, you sing it then, you know, because I wanted him to sing it slightly different and what. So it was just a natural thing where I sort of got pushed into it, but also wanted to do it as well, secretly. But as I say, it's a thing that I'd never really fancied the idea of being the front man, but it was something that became a necessity, I think, really, simply because I think I had a better voice than somebody else, so yeah.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
If I feel comfortable singing it, whether it's somebody else's song or whether it's my song, then I'm happy to do it. It's if I feel comfortable doing it. For instance, Never Gonna Give You Up, when I first heard that, I felt at ease with it straight away because it was the type of music that I liked, and I thought it was a really, really good song. And something that we were talking about before, it was slightly different, I think, for Stock Aitken Waterman as well, which was really pleasing for me. So.
Don't tell me you're too blind to see, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
He's actually from the same village in the north of England as where I live. And, you know, I saw him at my local pub. I was taken along to see him at my local pub. And I came back, you know, told the boys about him. And we brought him down, and because he's so shy, we kept him with us working for 14 months before we allowed him to put a record out. Because there's no doubt 12 months before, he would have been totally overawed. I mean, he's just about coping now with the pressure. But if we'd have put him out 12 months ago, he would have cracked up. There's no question. Because the pressure on him now is enormous.
The guy who manages me has known Peter Watman for quite a while, and basically he just asked him to come down and see 3 of the bands he was managing, one of which I was in, on a one-off basically, and he just happened to be around the area at the time, went along, and basically said he was interested in me, but he wasn't interested in the band I was in, which didn't really appeal to me at the time. You know, you've got to remember I was about 18 or 19 at the time, and it was, well, these are my mates, and you know, we've got our own thing going. What does he know, type of thing. But after, like, I think it was something like 6 months of thinking it over and him making an actual firm offer and all this, basically I decided to give it a go, because I said to myself that these chances they don't tend to come twice in a lifetime, you know, so you just got to go for it. So.
I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
So would it be fair to say you were a Manchester soul boy then?
Well, you might get yourself into a fight over it if you did, but...
Desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
And your apprenticeship was quite unusual in a way, because rather than thrust you straight into the limelight, you sort of learnt the ropes, didn't you?
Yeah, it's called being a tape-op, basically. But rather than offend the tape-op profession, I made tea, basically, because I didn't really have the time to learn what a tape-op has to learn. Also, I think it's something that you have to have an ability for, because basically a tape-op, the next step up is being an engineer, and every tape-op's dream basically is to start engineering things. And unless you're totally clued into it, and unless you really want to do it, and you're dedicated, it's something that you can't just take up. So basically all I was doing was helping out, learning the ropes from the mechanical side of it, if you like, the technical side, so that I would feel at ease working in a big producer's studio with professional gear and all that side of it. And I definitely think it paid off, because the time that I actually came around to recording the stuff, I felt very comfortable about the surroundings and about everybody in the building, not just Stock Aitken Waterman, but even to the girls in the office and everybody, you know. So.
I've been stood up, messed around, and taken for a fool. But next time round, I'm gonna change the rules. And I don't care about the things that people say.
Well, because of the Stock Aitken Waterman thing, obviously, I thought I was in with a fair chance, because everything they do usually, you know, practically always does really well. I think I did feel very confident, but I didn't really expect to do what I have done. And I think I would have been just as happy, perhaps, you know, just basically because I was really pleased with the music, you know, so.
Whenever you need somebody, I'll bring my love to you. You don't have to say you love me. I just want to be with you.
You worked very, very hard to establish yourself throughout the early hits and during the first year of your career. And then we read reports about you beginning to suffer a bit from the workload, nervous exhaustion setting in and all this. Put the record straight, what really happened?
I didn't really have what I would call nervous exhaustion, no. I was basically very run down physically, very run down mentally as well. And I think it was a case of, you either say, no, I don't care what's in the book, I don't care what's in the diary, I'm not going to do anything for a few weeks. That was my manager's decision just as much as it was mine, really. It was a case where we both just sat down and said, enough is enough. And it just so happened that I just happened to be doing a few things that were very, very sort of, if you like, in the news and what have you. So when we decided to take a break, it just happened at the wrong time, so it got blown out of proportion, I think, basically. So. But I think everybody goes through that. I mean, for instance, I remember Wet, Wet, Wet at some point were really ill as well. I mean, and basically I was going around at the same time, doing the same sort of shows and same sort of things as them. Also, they were playing live as well, so I mean, you know. I think it happens to everybody every now and again, but it just depends on whether the media want to blow something out of it or, you know.
It's much too late for you to change your ways. I can't keep holding on, expecting you to stay. When you're all alone and if you're feeling down, call me, I'll be around. Whenever you need
I can do this this all day, and I still get tired, but it's something that I actually want to do. So, and that goes with anybody, you know. I mean, even if it goes to doing something that's your hobby, you can do it all day, and it doesn't matter. It's not as tiring. When you've got to, say, travel to a different country each day to do another goddamn TV that was just the same as the one yesterday, it does start to get. It's not even boring. It just starts to get weary, basically, because you're doing the same thing over and over. Yeah.
Together forever and never to part. Together forever we two. And don't you know I would move heaven and earth to be together forever with you.
Well, I often ask myself how important is it to top the charts full stop, really, because, and I suppose I'm the last person to want to say that, because at the end of the day, I have had a lot of chart success, and that is basically what my career is based on, you know. But I think it's very hard to judge. For instance, if you, say, had a #1 record, and then the record that perhaps knocks you off is, say, let's say a novelty record, the Birdie song. I mean, what does it all mean at the end of the day? You say to yourself, oh, I've had a #1, great, you know, people out there like my records, I'm really pleased. And then all of a sudden, you get some record that you absolutely detest and has nothing to do with music, and you think, well, you know, that doesn't balance out to me, you see. So sometimes I say to myself, what does chart success mean? Obviously, it means that you get profile. People will then go and listen to your album, which I suppose, for me, is quite an important thing. I don't know, really. It's a hard thing to judge, really, the chart success thing. So.
When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love.
It's just a one-off idea of Pete Wortman's. We were all thinking of, we decided we wanted to record a cover, basically, a ballad, because, as I said before, most of the album is up-tempo dance stuff, and we decided, right, well, we need a ballad on the album. We've got to have one on there, because all these sang-ups are now is up-tempo stuff, so it wasn't really... it wasn't perhaps showing off my capabilities perhaps to the full. So basically, we all started coming out with different songs and what have you, and he just said, how about When I Fall in Love, Nat King Cole? And the first idea was to just do it with a piano, which I thought was great. But basically, when we actually heard the arrangement and everything, it ended up that we, you know, went for the whole hog and did the whole thing. So basically, it was just because we wanted something that was totally different. And as opposed to them writing something that was a ballad and something, you know, different, we decided we wanted to go for a cover. And that just seemed to be an ideal sort of choice. The only thing is that I think because of, you know, it just so happened that Christmas came along and record companies being what they are and everything, and so they decided to release it as a single. That was not the intention, believe me, but there you go.
I fall in love with you.
Mix 88, the world's greatest non-stop mega mix. 60 all-original hits, specially sequenced, including Billy Ocean, Rick Astley, Michael Jackson, Fairground Attraction, and Hazel Dean. We Papa Girl Rappers, The Hollies, and Wet, Wet, Wet. Hit Mix 88. It's got to be the essential party album. Be sure to ask for Hit Mix 88, the double album with double the hits.
Sophie Evans?
Yes, ma'am.
Andrew Farmer?
Yes, miss.
And the Finland?
Yes, miss. When he didn't turn up, we all thought he was sick. I even did him a card. Mum heard he'd been in an accident. When the teacher told us, she started crying. It was a driver that did it. Been down the boozer, hadn't he? Wasn't Matthew's fault. He was my best friend.
Rain, 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 beautiful rain. Rain, 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 beautiful rain. Oh, come to me, beautiful rain. Rain, 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 beautiful rain. Rain, 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 beautiful rain. Oh, come, never come. Oh, come, never come. Oh, come to me, beautiful rain.
New from Andrews. Paracetamol for a headache, sodium bicarbonate for the stomach. A new answer to the morning after.
How do you feel about your treatment in the press, Rick?
I think I've been treated quite well, considering. I mean, at the end of the day, I've no love for the tabloids, and I dare say they've no love for me, basically. It's a case of whoever is in the charts that they can sell papers by making headlines. Great. I think it's just, I came to a decision, I think, at some point, that I just said, whatever they want to write is fine, because I'm in this game, they're part of the game, let's just get on with it. I think I just made a decision that I just said, I don't particularly want to do interviews with them anymore, because, you know, whatever they want to write, or whatever they decide they have to write about me, about a situation, whether it be truth or whether it be slightly a white lie or whatever, I think they're going to write anyway. That's just the way it goes, you know. I don't particularly mind that. I just say, well, you get on with what you've got to do, I'll get on with what I've got to do, you know. I don't see the need for me to go out and talk to these people. If all they're going to write is what they want to do anyway, why not just let them get on with it, you know. So I just don't see that because I make records, and because I happen to make records that sell as well, that if somebody wants to slag me off, or somebody wants to say, he can't sing, it's not him singing or anything, fine, great, go ahead, say whatever you want. But when people start to say things about my family, and about my girlfriend, and about my friends, who didn't set off on this career, and didn't say, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, you know, I've basically made a decision for myself that I'm willing to take any flack that anybody wants to give me, because at the end of the day, I want to do this. That's my choice. But it's not my family's choice or my friend's choice to say that. So I don't think they have any right to write anything about any... And that goes for everybody as well. But, you know, that's just the way it is. That's just the way they are. I'd just like to see what they'd say if the people who have these columns had something written about their family, which may happen one day. I've probably just killed myself in Britain, but there you go. The hardest thing is that I'm Rick Astley, so if I go out in public and people say, oh, there's Rick, get his autograph, fine. She then has to be Rick Astley's girlfriend, because nobody's ever going to say, oh, there's Jackie Price. It's, oh, there's Rick Astley's girlfriend, which I think is even harder than being Rick Astley, really.
Thanks. They have a pretty band in here as well, yeah? Yeah.
Give us a song, come on, Rick. Come on, please. Come on. Yeah.
We were talking about your family. What does your dad make of all this now? You know, he's suddenly seen his son thrust into the limelight over, a couple of years, really.
Yeah. Well, basically, obviously, he's very pleased, as all the family is. I mean, I think when I first started, let's say, when I first started, I was about 15 and 16, and I had a drum kit, and I used to practice away practically every night and everything, really loud. I don't think he was all that pleased about it, and I don't think he was particularly... I wouldn't say pleased, but I think he was very cautious about me going to London for the first time and talking to all these record company people and everything, you know. But obviously he's very pleased that everything's turned out great, and very proud of him. So.
Do you feel quite pressured by the prospect of doing your first live tour?
I feel pressured more by setting it up as opposed to actually doing it. Because I am one of those people who likes to be interested in every angle of my career. I know perhaps the general public wouldn't think that, but so it concerns me, for instance, about, who we're going to have doing the monitors. Well, what desk is he going to use? Well, why is he going to use that reverb? I can't, but I really enjoy it, but I just can't bring myself to just shut up and get on with my part. I'm interested in all of it, you see, which I think every artist is, you know, and it's something that everybody gets into. It's just because basically this is my sort of love, if you like, and that's what I'm into. So as I say, the actual months that are going to build up to doing the tour, I think are going to be a lot harder than when we actually go out, because when we go out, we've tried to make it what we would call a very easy tour, lots of days off. We'll just have to see how it goes, basically, simple as that. So. Being with Stock Aitken Waterman is like being in a band with Stock Aitken Waterman. But when it actually comes to doing the TVs and the fronting and everything, they're not part of the band or anything. They just sort of say, well, we'll let you get on with that. It's basically, I mean, for instance, if you had 4 blokes in a band and 3 of them were the writers and the producers, for instance, I'm trying to think of somebody who does that, and I can't, obviously. But I mean, and then they didn't go out and front it wouldn't be looked upon as being that different. But because they're a name as producers and writers and everything, it is obviously different. Well, I think basically most of their artists, I can't actually think of one who's actually been out and been on a tour. So I think that's going to be very different for them. I think it's going to be I hope it's going to be enjoyable for them to go along and see what we've done to some of their songs as well. In a place called the Workhouse, which is owned by PWL, or half of it is. And while I was away on holiday, the place burned down. So the idea was I'd come off holiday and we would have had 4 tracks mixed by then, because we'd finished all the recording side of it. So basically we'd be like practically halfway through the album. And I got a phone call when I was on holiday from a manager. And he mentioned a few things. He said, oh, and by the way, the studio was burned down. So yeah, the tapes did get destroyed, yeah, which was quite a setback, really. And in the recording schedule, obviously, it took about 4 weeks out of it. Having said that, in some ways, what we had to do then was a lot easier, because we'd already recorded, stripped down and ripped apart the songs. So basically, we knew everything we wanted to do now. It's just a case of doing it. Whereas when you're actually doing it from scratch, it's like, well, what are we going to put here? What are we going to use for a pad sound there? All that sort of thing. So at least we knew what we wanted, so it was a hell of a lot easier to re-record everything.
So not too much of a disaster?
No, I mean, something to talk about perhaps when I'm old and grey, but you know. There are more sort of slower tracks on the album as opposed to the last album being basically an up-tempo dance thing. Basically the album consists of 3 Stock Aitken Waterman songs, 6 of my own and a cover version, so I think it's perhaps a more Rick Astley album than the first one as well. So. The single was released on, I think what date it is. It was Monday the 14th, and it is a Stock Aitken Waterman track. It's called Take Me to Your Heart. So whether that'll be around or not at Christmas, I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see. It's not a particularly Christmas single. It's basically an up-tempo track that, you know, of the Stock Aitken Waterman type that, you know, we all know and love type of thing. But on this album, for instance, I've written 6 of the songs, they've done 3, and we've done a cover. So it is shifting slightly. And I do definitely see the day when I won't be working with Stock Aitken Waterman, as they do. I mean, at the end of the day, how long are they going to last for anyway? I mean, they're going to want to stop at some point. You know, nobody can keep up a rate the way they're doing it. I think it all, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. If they're still doing things that I want to record, and vice versa, they still want to, you know, work with me as an artist, then yeah. But as I say, because of just a natural thing, I think they're going to want to take it easy after a while and just perhaps do 1 album a year or something with somebody, you know. So let's just have to wait and see. Really.
What about more generally, Rick? Are you going to kind of settle down and be a family man, or...?
Well, I've no plans to be a family man at the moment, no. As far as the settling down goes, I don't really think you can settle down much when you're on a world tour, but there you go. We're going to be touring basically till next September, maybe a little later than that. But I do intend basically to buy a house from the area that I come from, which is near Manchester, in between Manchester and Liverpool. And basically, if you like, settle down there then. Have somewhere that is a base, as opposed to living in London in a flat. I would like to have what I would call a real home, you know, which I think I'm going to make it my business over the next, say, 6 months to do, you know.
So no marriage plans, as some tabloids
No.
have suggested?
No. Not the marriage type, I don't think. A pop career does not last forever, and I'm still pretty young yet, you know, so by the time I get to 30 or something, my career as an actual, let's say a public pop star may be well gone, and I may be involved in something else in the music business, so, you know, we'll just have to see how it goes there. Think about you when you're far away, and I dream about you. Night and day, and I make you want me. The way that I want you, 'cause I think I love you. Could you love me too? Take me to your heart, never let me go. If you knew what I'm feeling, you would not say no. Take me to your heart, never let me go. For your love is all I need to know. Take me to your heart, never let me go. If you knew what I'm feeling, you would not say no. Take me to your heart, never let me go. For your love is all I need to know. Take me to your heart, never let me go. If you knew what I'm feeling, you would not say no. Take me to your heart,
More news from ITN in about a minute, after which the St. Louis Cardinals and Montreal Expos play Major League Baseball. Still to come on Nighttime.
Get on up to the very best of the godfather of soul, the one and only Mr. James Brown.
Like a sex machine, ain't no drag.
Sexy soul power.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
James Brown.
This is a man's world.
Hot, hip, and dangerously danceable.
Get a bump for that thing.
The only James Brown album you'll ever need. James Brown, the godfather of soul. Get it now and get on up.
You know where I come from, we're used to things pretty hot around Christmas. I reckon you can overdo it. Still, we could always cool down with a couple of ice-cold Fosters. Tastes like an angel crying on your tongue.
Come on, everybody. Nigel and Jerry are just going to set the fairy on top of the tree.
Oh. Good old Jerry.
Foster's, the amber nectar.
Zeinab Badawi is at ITN now to bring you the latest news headlines.
All 273 passengers and crew aboard a Pan Am jumbo jet died when the aircraft crashed in a fireball in the Scottish borders. It was Britain's worst ever air disaster. The jet came down in the Scottish town of Lockerbie near Carlisle. More deaths were feared among people in the houses and cars that were hit by flying debris.
The shattered nose section of the Pan Am jumbo jet lies half crushed by its impact with the ground. It had apparently fallen from 6 miles up after a catastrophe that tore the jumbo jet apart. The flight had originated from Frankfurt in Germany and may have had many American servicemen on board. All the plane's occupants are dead. The wreckage was still smouldering hours after the crash, which happened after the plane had suddenly disappeared from air traffic control radar screens. There'd been no mayday signal from the pilot, no sign at all that the Pan Am crew had any warning that disaster was imminent. Wreckage from one of the plane's engines had gouged a deep crater in the road. The southern part of the town of Lockerbie was devastated by the crash. Dozens of houses were set ablaze as flaming wreckage rained down from the sky without warning. It's not yet known how many casualties there were amongst the townspeople, but the figures were initially feared to be high.
At the JFK airport in New York, there have been scenes of anguish as friends and relatives turning up expecting to meet people off the plane heard the news. Pan Am officials have given a press conference, although not many details have emerged. A spokesman for the company was asked whether there was any evidence of an explosion aboard the aircraft.
We really don't. We have no indication. As I said, there was no prior indication that there were any problems with the aircraft. There was no contact prior, any mayday signals. The aircraft had made normal contact with the control center at 1915. The last reported contact was at 1917.
Pan Am has issued an emergency telephone number for relatives. It's 01 if you live outside London, 897-6333. That's 897-6333. That's it for now. More news later.